Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to have to be a bit quiet today. You might be able to hear the bells, and that's because we're in Norwich Anglican cathedral today. At the moment we're in the cloisters. I'll do all my waffly stuff out here, history, etc. And then we shall go inside the cathedral where we will be quiet and respectful. Let's get the camera turned around and get away from the guided tour, shall we?
Anyway, so we're here in the cloisters. The cloisters here in Norwich Cathedral are the largest.
Okay, so I suppose I could have just hung around that guy and let him do all the waffling for me, but you never know. I might have found something he hasn't got written down or memorised. So, Norwich Anglican Cathedral, dedicated to the Holy and Undivided Trinity of Cathedral Church for the Church of England Diocese of Norwich, one of 12 English heritage sites, Grade 1 listed in 1954 on the 26th of February, is in a Norman Gothic style. We're going to wave the camera about a bit. There's all sorts of memorials and things. As the chap was saying, we are in the cloisters at the moment. We've got a bit more to say about that in a bit. Building started in 1096, continuing through to 1145. The cathedral itself, without all the associated buildings like these cloisters, refectories and hosteries and all sorts of other things, is 140 metres long. Sorry. Yeah. 140. Well, I've got my measurements wrong here. Yes. 140 metres long, which is 460 feet. 54 metres wide, which is 177 feet. And the spire is 96 metres, 317 feet. The tower is home to 10 bells. It is of a flint and mortar construction, so common to the area, but dressed with Caen limestone from France. Caen in France. Absolutely gorgeous place to be on a day like today, where it's October. It was blowing a hoolie, piddling down the rain yesterday, but today is actually rather pleasant, and I'm a bit overdressed for the weather. So the Norman Tower was, go back a bit. An Anglo-Saxon settlement and 2 churches were destroyed to make room for the cathedral and its associated buildings. Now we get back to where we were. The Norman Tower was originally a wooden spire covered in lead, rebuilt in 1480 in stone. The bosses are one of the greatest medieval sculptural treasures that survived the iconoclasms of the Tudor and Civil War periods. There are 400 in the cloisters, all of which are ornately painted. We just go with a couple of random ones here. There's all sorts of different scenes and things depicted. And as we go along on, not even max zoom on this camera, it's got a pretty impressive zoom on it. But as you can see, they go all the way down. I say the hand card ornately painted. It is the second largest cloister in England, second only to Salisbury Cathedral. And here's where we get our first look at the actual cathedral itself from the outside. The cathedral close itself is one of the largest in Europe. Let's see if we can zoom all the way into the top of the spire. We are going to have to go to maxi zoom if it'll even focus. There we go. This is really hard doing this one-handed. There we go, that's actually a semi-artsy shot. I say the cloister is one of the largest in Europe, with more people living within it than any other. The spire is also the second tallest spire in the UK, behind Salisbury, despite its being struck by lightning 2 years after its completion. And now we switch to page 2 of the notes, because there's a lot of notes and I want to get through them all before we go inside. Just, you know, to be respectful. I know that sounds very unlike me, but hey, I know I'm not religious, but that doesn't mean I can't respect other people's beliefs, wishes and religions. Now we go back into a bit of the actual lengthy and storied history of the cathedral. In 672, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Theodore of Tarsus, divided the Kingdom of East Anglia into two dioceses, whatever. One of Norfolk with the Episcopal See at Elmham, and Suffolk with its see at Dunwich. In the 9th century, and because of Danish incursions, you know, those pesky Viking-y type people, and there being no bishop at Elmham, the seat of Dunwich was extinguished and East Anglia became one diocese again. Following the Norman conquest, the sees moved to more secure urban centres. Lost my place and my notes are blowing around. Elmham transferred to Thetford in 1072, then on to Norwich in 1094. I really can't see what I'm filming because of the sun, never mind. The new cathedral incorporated the Benedictine priory and constructed at the behest of the first Bishop of Norwich, Herbert de Losinga, who bought the bishopric, something like that, for £1,900. A canal was cut from the River Wensum for the transport of material, and apparently the nave is unusually long at 14 bays. The transepts are without aisles, and the east end is an apse with an ambulatory from which is accessible. Two chapels of an unusual shape. Plan of each is based on two intersecting circles, which allows more correct orientation of altars than the normal radial chapels do. You know, you're wondering, Sharpie, why are you walking in circles? We'll get to that in a bit. We're following a labyrinth. Where were we? The cathedral was damaged after riots in 1272. The city was fined heavily by Henry III. Rebuilding was completed in 1278, and the cathedral was reconsecrated in the presence of Edward I on Advent Sunday. The cloisters began construction in 1297 and were finished in 1430 after the plague ravaged the city. Yes, the Black Death. It came to Norfolk, it came to everywhere in Europe. As we said, there were 400 bosses in the ceiling. The Norman spire itself blew down in 1362, resulting in the cloistery of the choir being rebuilt in a perpendicular style, and the 15th and 16th century timber ceilings were replaced with stone vaulting. The nave was undervaulted under Walter Hart, Bishop of 1446 to 1472. The choir and the balcony chapel under James Caldwell, 1472 to 1499, and the transepts at some point after 1520. style is a Thesseron vaulting with Leanne ribs. I have no idea what that means, but it looks very pretty. In 1463, the replacement spire was struck by lightning again. In 1480, James Goldell ordered a new spire to be built, and that is the one that's making a hell of a racket and is still standing to this day. As you can see, there is work going on. Partially in ruins in the early 17th century with a bishop absent. In 1643, Puritan mobs invaded the cathedral and destroyed all Roman Catholic symbols, symbology, etc. And it was abandoned the following year. Lay in ruin for 2 decades, and at least one musket ball still remains lodged in the stonework. In 1660, during the restoration of the monasteries after Enrico did his, destroying them all, it saw the cathedral fully restored. Now, other things about, there is a fine selection apparently of 61 misericords dating from 1480, 1550 and the mid-19th century. Well, one of the memorials, and behind, I just realised I've probably been pointing the camera at the dirt this whole time. Never mind. So behind the altar in St. Luke's Chapel is a late 14th century painting known as the Dispensa de Table, named after Bishop Henri Le Despenser, 1369 to 1406. During the Peasants' Revolt of 1381, his forces contained the revolt in Norfolk, so likely a thank you gift by the king at the time. The copper font inside the cathedral has an interesting story as well. It's not ancient as you might think. It's made from bowls previously used for making chocolate in the Rowntree factory, which, if you didn't know, along with Coleman's, Rowntree was a famous Norwich company. And let's say the copper bowls were given to the cathedral after the factory closed in 1994. The current organ is one of the largest in the UK, built by Norman and Beard in 1889, damaged in a fire in 1938. Yes, there's been a lot of fire and lightning going on around here. It's all kind of biblical really. The cymbal stern with 6 bells and a rotating spar was added to it in 1969. And interestingly, records of all the organists from 1542 onwards have survived, and the earliest recorded being Adam the organist, no surname, from 1313. There are statues to the Duke of Wellington even, get it right sharp, and Lord Admiral Horatio Nelson, and also Edith Cavell's grave. And as I said when I did a little short video just outside, at some point I will get round to filming a video on Edith Cavell, because she's a very interesting woman, very wonderful woman as well. And this is why we've been walking around in circles for the last few minutes, as this labyrinth was laid for the Queen's Elizabeth II Golden Jubilee 20 years ago. Rest in peace, Mum. So there we go. A little bit of a potted history of Norwich Anglican Cathedral, originally Roman Catholic. So hopefully that's not gone on too long, considering I just read through that many notes, 15 minutes we're doing well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go inside the cathedral. I'm going to keep my gob shut just to be respectful, because there'll probably be people in there praying, not just wandering around. And last time I wandered around a church and started doing my spiel, I ended up with people thinking I was a tour guide, so we'll try and avoid that one, shall we? Anyway, let's get this camera turned around now. So, thanks very much for watching and bearing with through some long-winded notes. Any comments, questions, blah blah blah, stick them down there somewhere in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, click the notification bell. All the good stuff. You know what to do. You've been watching YouTube long enough to know what you got to do, ain't you? Hey, it just helps if the people making the videos could do it well. So never mind. Have fun. Enjoy your hobbies. Peace out. And bye bye.